Professor, I know it's against the rules to have sex in the dorms, but Professor, I think I got a girl pregnant.
We can talk more tonight.
Professor, excuse me, I know you're going to your room, but I'm failing class, and the guidance counselor said that I'm going to get kicked out of the high school if I don't improve my grades, and I'm really scared.
We can talk more tonight.
Professor, I know this is kind of embarrassing, but I've got a lump on my nut.
We can talk more tonight.
Deal with it. Professor, out. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Professor, out. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Professor, out.
I'm Jerry McGreer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that talks about all things X-Men. We're visiting the first appearances of some of our favorite characters, like Banshee.
Yes.
Everybody's favorite X-Men, Banshee. And this week we decided to turn to one of the villains and see for the first time Mr. Sinister back in Uncanny X-Men number 221 when comic books were 75 cents, Gary.
Yeah, we've gone from 12 cents to 25 cents to 75 cents.
Inflation.
With this. I think the next one's $1. That we do. So we're going through all the different comic values. This is a 70s issue, or rather an 80s issue from Chris Claremont's zone in the X-Men, and is consequently more readable, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely more than that Uncanny X-Men. And you have to appreciate it, you can appreciate it less ironically than the Hulk issue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is pretty fun.
I think if you picked up Uncanny from the Giant Size Annual number 1 and you read it straight through, because I've done that a couple of times and I've gotten pretty far. It's entertaining. It's good. Like, I think you have to like X-Men, and you have to really like just lean into getting through Claremont's like really purple prose on a lot of this stuff. And I think that's what just ultimately will exhaust me on every single time where I'm just open a comic book and I'm like, oh my God, more of this. It's every time George R. R. Martin like starts talking about like the banners or food. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Either one, or the banners made of food, or the food made of banners, or whatever. Like, it's just
banner bites.
Your
George
eyes
R.
just start
Martin's
glazing over
cart.
sometimes.
This is a team that I have a lot of nostalgia for. This is the Australia team, even though they're not in Australia, but it's that same basic makeup.
Yeah.
There. So that also does a lot of work towards me liking this. Like a main character in this is Dazzler, which I love.
Yes. Also, we get some Marauder action, which is always entertaining. And I like this Madeline Pryor era. Somebody on Twitter, and apologies that I can't remember your Twitter handle right now. But when we were talking about the Cyclops was right stuff, somebody tweeted at me and was like, I'm with you, but I just can't get over what a horrible husband he was to Madeline Pryor. And I was like, well, I don't remember him being. Oh no, he's a real shitbag for Madeline Pryor.
Oh yeah, he's awful.
Yeah, he's a fucking awful human being, and it's a bummer.
I don't give Cyclops carte blanche to do anything. I just think he was right in the Phoenix Force. Like, it doesn't mean like every decision he's made has been right.
Yeah.
You know. The cover of this, we have Havoc blowing up and zapping Wolverine.
Yep.
Him. This does happen, but it's not the most important thing that happens in the comic.
Like Wolverine's red claws.
Yeah, they're getting reflected, and it's also brown. I love brown costume Wolverine. It's my favorite Wolverine costume.
Brown costume Wolverine is very cool. And then we open on Mr. Sinister himself. White face, diamond tattoo, red eyes, sharp teeth. What was going on when they designed this dude? Like, what did they intend for him to be?
You know the story of that, right?
I do not know.
So Mr. Sinister was intended to be like a Shadow King kind of creation of Scott Summers' imagination.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be what like a little kid would think a supervillain would be.
Gotcha.
Is the idea.
Okay. Well, that makes
sense.
sense.
They never went with that, but that's why, there's all these stories about Mr. Sinister like stalking Scott Summers at the graveyard and his obsession with the Summers DNA. It was supposed to be he was like literally kind of a tulpa for Scott. And they just never did it that way. But that's why he's called Mr. Sinister and why he's dressed like like this incredibly campy high collared supervillain.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense because like the weird sharp teeth is just very. Again, it works in context. I remember when I was a kid reading this, I was like, "Oh yeah, he's a bad guy. He's got sharp teeth. Makes total sense." No, NBD. Yeah, I get this.
Logic.
But just like read it now, I'm like, "What the fuck was going on? What was happening?"
We mentioned this was a Chris Claremont thing. The artists on this are Mark Silvestri and Dan Green. Really early Mark Silvestri stuff. Yeah, that guy turned out to be a shithead, I believe, in like Comicsgate stuff. But this is back before all that.
Boy, I got a reminder that I was still following Warren Ellis on Twitter the other day when he tweeted for the first time in what felt like years. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I don't want to be on your mailing list. Take me the fuck off.
Yeah. So Sinister shows up and he's very upset at the Marauders for failing him.
Yep.
And he names the Marauders, which allows us to get Scalp Hunter, who had the worst costume before Danger.
Yeah, dude. What like this half shirt thing that he's wearing. I mean, Scrambler is just there in his civvies. Like as far as like,
I love a superhero who just wears clothes.
I do too. I mean,
great.
like it just didn't show up. Like, was he busy? Like he's like, no, man, I got to go right back to work. Like I work at the. What are you doing?
Shift.
Yeah, this is not my main deal. Like you don't pay enough for this to be my main deal. Like I don't get a 401k here, Mr. Sinister. I'm sorry.
Isn't it weird that fully 3 out of the 7 Marauders have a single sleeve? Like have like a single shoulder.
That is a weird thing though. I guess we were real
Scalp
big into
Hunter,
showing
Harpoon,
shoulders
and
back then,
Arclight.
huh? That's really strange.
Yeah, I'll do the single shoulder thing.
Sabretooth. I love the 90s Sabretooth design so much. Just like I'm just an orange guy with hair coming out of every possible place that it could be coming out of.
I'm so pissed. They failed him. He's just like, doing the villain speech.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you failed me, you couldn't eliminate Malin Pryor. How are you going to fight the Avengers and the Fantastic Four if you can't even do this?
Yeah.
Sabretooth doesn't like this. He's like, nobody talks to me like that. Nobody threatens me. And he tries to attack Mr. Sinister, and Mr. Sinister just dumpsters him. Like, just grabs his neck and chokes him out.
With one hand, holds him to the side, holds him up in the air, and then proceeds to continue with his speech, like as if it was not even a problem to do this. Which is a great way to show like Mr. Sinister is just in his own fucking class, right? Like he is just out the box good.
Yep. They're like, well, shit, we shouldn't fuck up Mr. Sinister anymore.
Yeah.
We cut over to a Danger Room sequence. This was a big Claremont thing. Always had a scene in the Danger Room of Dazzler and Rogue fighting from Dazzler's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
She's thinking about it. She's talking through her battle tactics as she uses her power to counter Rogue, who is acting really nasty. We're introduced to what is the name of her ultimate zap?
Dude, I don't.
Photon blast.
The photon blast. Yeah. Eat photons, witch. Vorp.
Yeah. Vorp.
Vorp. Can we talk about Dazzler's sleeves for a moment? Because she cut off one of her sleeves and just put it like she cut off the bottom side and just put it on the other arm like it was a glove.
Fuck this one shoulder exposed shit, man. What was going on?
So sexy. I love one shoulder being exposed.
Everybody loves one shoulder in her bodysuit. Like that's just a freestanding sleeve.
We came over from the bar one night and caught and not meaning to, but just walked in on one of my roommates masturbating.
Sure.
And then, scramble. And then we all look over and he's watching Lost Highway by David Lynch. And kind of look back at the room that he scrambled into and was like, what in the fuck? And then later, I had this conversation. I was like, dude, I'm sure you have porn. Like, we've all got computer. What are you doing? Like, why? He's like, I don't know, man. There was something about this one scene with her shoulder, and I just had to get one out. And I'm like, okay, man, go for it.
Wowie zowie. That's incredible.
You were masturbating to Lost Highway?
That's pretty fucked up. Because that's like a race. Because you do it until Robert Blake shows up and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, until somebody starts playing a saxophone in a real creepy way.
Yeah. Well, that nut's gonna go back into my body. I'm gonna resorb that one.
And then you're the David Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. You become a racer head in your balls.
Dazzler takes down. Go ahead.
Yeah, she takes him down. Her powers work differently in this than I ever understood. She shoots I-beams sometimes. So I don't. She turns sound into light as her thing.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I always assume she had to yell and then could fire lasers basically.
Yeah.
She also uses the verb laze a lot to mean hitting something with a laser.
I like that. I like the word laze a whole lot. It sounds good.
Laze through the rigging.
She knocks out Rogue, but Rogue comes back, and she has to drop through all these lights on top of her, and that's when the danger room session ends, and it's revealed that that wasn't the real Rogue; it was a fake Rogue, and the real Rogue is kind of pissed off that she's like training to fight her, and I'm like, this is exactly where X-Men Evolution's got that whole like plot line from, isn't it? Like I watched this. This was the whole thing.
Yeah, basically. This is I had forgotten that there was any rivalry here, and it gets wrapped up this issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this could be the end of a long running thing. But we knew Rogue is a new X-Men, and she used to be a villain.
Yeah,
you know, she's like, I apologize, and they're like, you tried to kill me. Dazzler's like, you tried to kill me a bunch of times. That doesn't just go away. You know, and they're going to get into a fight again. But then Psylocke summons them because they've been summoned by Wolverine, who is the team leader at this point.
Yep. We get this kind of break to do some what feels like just not appropriate Indian shit, American Indian stuff. But this dude is creeping on Storm. He's gonna try to take over Storm, and he's vaguely American Indian themed.
It's Naz, Naze, and this is going into a really famous story called Life Death.
Yep.
About Storm and Forge, which everyone really loves, but I think is an example of pretty unreadable Chris Claremont stuff. It's a lot of them talking about love.
Yes.
And whenever Storm and Forge start talking about love, it reminds me of Troy on the Next Generation talking about her Imzadi.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What was that? what did you say?
I said your own failings.
Oh yeah, no, like I'll never have a love as pure as Storm and Forge's.
Oh man, that's never going to happen to me. I'm sorry. I interrupted you to make a bad joke. Please continue.
No, it's all right. I mean, mine wasn't even a joke. It reminds me of like when Troy talks about Riker being her Imzadi. Like they talk about their soul bond and stuff, and it makes me very bored.
Yes,
I do not like it.
Mm-hmm. I get as somebody who's basically found his quote unquote soulmate, I get very bored hearing other people talk about it. It's just basically dreams. Like I don't care. Like I just be it. Have it. Be it. Don't tell nobody about it. I don't care.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up about love.
Yeah. What the fuck are you doing, man? What the hell is your problem with love?
Yeah. Yeah. He's being a creep. They're going to go try to find Forge. Forge turned off her powers, and now she wants them back. Naz is going to guide her to Forge. It's just a subplot that's been running.
Yeah. I will say this is probably my favorite Storm look. I think we've talked about 80s Storm in the past, and the mohawk, the leather jacket, the punk rock Storm stuff is always super fucking cool. So,
the look is incredible.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Super cool. Like I like this era of Storm and Forge. I just like their love story never really did too much for me.
Yeah.
Maker, goddess. Like it's real cheesy.
We jump over to San Francisco to the Emperor Norton Bridge, but better known to tourists and foreigners as the Oakland Bay Bridge. And I'm like, shove it up your ass, Claremont. I don't care what your bridge is called. I'm a tourist. I'm gonna do touristy shit. I came to see the big bridge. Okay, like leave me the fuck alone about it.
Yeah, you want to call things that people like. You want to call it what people call it.
Yeah,
then they'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not a nightclub.
Take me across the Emperor Norton Bridge. What the fuck are you talking about, tourist? Like.
So stupid. The X-Men are staked out in front of a hospital because Madeline Pryor is there, and she woke up confused. They don't really know what's going on, and this gives the opportunity for Alex and Wolverine to get in a fight because apparently Cyclops like dumped her at the hospital and then took the baby and left, and Alex does not believe this whatsoever. I really enjoy Wolverine pulling down the hood of his costume to put on a cowboy hat. That really amuses me for some reason.
Cowboy hat Wolverine is great.
I love cowboy hat Wolverine, man.
Yeah, I'm way into. I also really like British gentle psychic Psylocke as well. I think we're on different pages of that, but I always liked old Psylocke.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
like
I don't dislike it or anything. I just young Jeremy really liked that new Psylocke design. I was like, whoa, that's doing things.
Whoa. I got to get me a room, a DVD of Lost Highway, and some privacy.
Yeah. Antonio Badalamenti, what, you got a soundtrack for what I'm about to do here? And he's like, no.
Yes. I am Antonio Badalamenti. Psylocke realizes there are already a couple of marauders in the hospital, making the X-Men the shittiest at stakeouts they've ever been.
Yep.
And they go in one at a time like idiots because it's comics. Rogue pops in, knocks out Sabretooth, and then kicks in the door to find Scalp Hunter about to shoot Madeline Pryor.
With the way, like, it looks like they very specifically say that he already killed the nurse, but it really looks like she is just cracking the nurse's skull on the wall, right? Like, it looks like Rogue did this, just with that uplifted leg. Scalp Hunter's design really shines in these couple of panels, just because you can see just the whole nip up in there, dude.
If people have never seen him, he looks like he's just covered with random machinery, except for one shoulder and one pec and one arm. Like, it's a really ugly, busy costume. He also has like big disco boots as well over his like mechanical legs.
Taupe.
It's one of the worst costumes. It's not as bad as Danger.
It's like something like an Amazon woman would wear with like the one breast bared or whatever, but except it's just shitty machines and it's on a dude with like long hair.
If you coated him with super glue and he rolled around on the floor with a bunch of Transformers on it,
sure,
is what Scalp Hunter looks like. Exceedingly ugly.
Very much so.
He's going to execute Madeline Pryor, who fights back, hits him in the face with a pan. And is kind of beating him up until eventually he gets sniped in the back by Dazzler and Psylocke, who teamed up to figure out where to shoot. Unfortunately, Longshot notices from behind them Vertigo has shown up and is zapping them with Vertigo powers.
And Longshot being Longshot grabs both of the women, jumps off the building, throws over a hook on a rope, and then swings them into a garbage can full of sand. For a nice light landing. Shot.
Yep, luck powers.
Yeah,
they bounce off a little marquee, and then go land in some sand.
Man, you've seen that. You see that all the time in comic books where they bounce off those little marquees. And every time I see a marquee, I'm like, I don't know that I can bounce off that. I don't know if that can really hold me. What's the weight limit on that bad boy? I'm a big guy. Can I do a little trampy tramp on it? I don't know. I don't think I can.
Yeah. I think you would just die. You just fall through.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I think Longshot's bones are hollow.
Okay.
So he doesn't weigh as much.
Like a bird?
I can't remember why that is, but I think he has hollow bones. Anywho, Harpoon, who also has one shoulder bare, who is, they use the word Eskimo here. He's an indigenous person of Canada, the North. He throws harpoons, which he then turns into worse harpoons.
Yeah.
Like, he throws a harpoon, he hits Psylocke in the spine. His mutant power is to take this metal harpoon and turn it into energy, which hurts her a lot, but does not sever her spine, which is what a harpoon would do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This just makes her hurt a whole lot, and then she can get up and walk away, versus a harpoon, which would kill her.
Yeah. It's how you get Xavier. Is you smash him through the spine with a metal rod. Like, it just feels like a really weird superpower.
Yeah.
Like, I can make harpoons less deadly.
Because they're all mentally linked via Psylocke's telepathy, her pain spreads to all of the other X-Men, including Havoc and Wolverine, who are trying to get into the hospital. While he's incapacitated, Havoc gets caught up by Scrambler, the guy that is going to Office Depot as soon as this mission is over, so he can resume his shift managing position. I can't believe my boss scheduled me for this, Mr. Sinister. I'm so sorry. We'll do the mission and then I'll go over
Sinister
there.
is your boss now.
Mr. Sinister, I just got promoted to third key. I'm going to have to do less hours than the Marauders. Is that okay?
Good. His powers are, he makes, if he touches somebody, their powers go nuts. So he touches Havoc and makes Havoc fucking murk a hospital, basically.
A whole hospital. Like in the next couple of pages, they're like, we're evacuating the patients. And I'm like, this seems real serious.
Pretty intense just to make Havoc blow up, and kill everybody, basically.
I like this dude's power, though, because I'm very curious, like, what would happen if he scrambled Wolverine's power? Would he just get, like, super old, or would he get super young? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would happen?
I've always... I read about the Marauders before I actually read any comics with them through the Who's Who of the Marvel Universe, or whatever, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. And I always remember thinking Scrambler was cool. And then I read Fall of the Mutants, and the Marauders are in that, and he's always just in these team fights. Like, we don't know very much about him. We don't get to see him do very much. He does like one little pair off and then gets knocked out just like he does here.
Yeah. It's I do like that he's just in normal clothes though. It just really cracks me up. He's like, "Yep, that'll do the trick. See you later."
He specifically, Havoc did not fall all the way through the floor. He landed on the edge of a hole, and Scrambler says, "Well, when you wake up, you're probably going to roll over, so you'll probably just die then. I don't have to finish you off," which is very funny. Like, I don't want to lift a finger, and then that gives Madeline Pryor a chance to knock him out.
We need to talk about
the head.
We need to talk about how badass Madeline Pryor is. By the way, like she smacked 2 supervillains in the face.
She holds her own during this.
Yeah, and she's not like a powered individual, or at least at this point, I can't really remember what. Yeah.
No. She doesn't do anything. She becomes the Goblin Queen eventually.
That's what.
This is just her being a person. So Wolverine says, "Don't worry about me. Get Madeline Pryor out," because Arclight, who also has an exposed shoulder, starts creating an earthquake, and Rogue just grabs her and starts flying away. Yeah, here to rescue her, but unfortunately, they're grabbed by a skyscraper. A bunch of metal beams all reach up and grab them. These are controlled by Polaris, former X-Men.
Yes,
and current Marauder. This I think is because she has a necklace on that is lets Malice control her, if I remember.
Oh,
this is why she's a villain now.
Okay,
but I think she has like a choker. I like it when the skyscraper comes to life to grab them, and Rogue goes, "Aw, crumbs."
Yeah, like she dropped a biscuit. Is what you say all crumbs about.
Crumbs.
Like, oh man, I can't believe this happened to me. Not again. I like this exchange between Rogue and Polaris, where she's like, "I lead the Marauders." Like, I'm not a member. I'm also the president.
Yeah. Stupid idiot. This is obviously a big betrayal. We cut over to our less powered X-Men, the Dazzler, Longshot, Psylocke trifecta, who have just been hanging out. And they're going to try to save, the skyscraper made of metal that Polaris is controlling is going to dump Rogue and Madeline Pryor in the ocean. And Dazzler has Longshot hit it with his grapple cord, and then she hangs on to it to get dragged into the water with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little confusing, like why she's doing this at first, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what the goal was until like, oh, they're trapped underwater. Like she's just trying to get to them faster. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And then of course all of the bad blood that we were introduced to at the beginning of the comic is paid off here, where Dazzler has to risk her own life to save not only Madeline but also of course Rogue. And she tries to free her. She can't do it all the way. She runs out of breath. She's almost about to pass out, but fortunately she was able to weaken the metal just long enough for Hulk to throw Rogue into a tree and break all of her. Oh wait, sorry, I'm getting my comic books confused.
Yes.
For Rogue to break out and then save Dazzler. So now everything's okay again.
Yeah. You think that she's going to abandon Rogue, and she doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, we're a team. And just as they, so she's going to drown, and then Rogue saves her. They both show up and they have their moment. And then Polaris shows up.
Yep.
And that's our cliffhanger.
And the next issue, Heartbreak, Gary.
Yep. The cover of the next issue is really iconic, with Wolverine about to stab Sabretooth in the heart.
Yeah.
The idea here, I think, like, so as far as like an intro, we didn't really talk about this, but like the intro to the Banshee is ridiculous. Doesn't have anything to do with the Banshee. Intro to Wolverine, I think, is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It shows his like fighting style, and also he's like kind of quippy and rough and tumble in the vocal,
Yep.
in his lines the same way. And then I think the reason why this is a good Mr. Sinister introduction is that if we had just been reading these comics, we knew about the Marauders before this.
Yeah.
Like these guys were a big deal. And then we finally get to see who's like the mastermind behind them.
The Marauders boss. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And their leader, silly Rogue.
Silly Rogue.
The team leader and Sinister. We don't get tons of Sinister in this, but we're going to get, more in this storyline. Like, obviously.
Polaris really, drops the ball on being the shift lead of this team, because like she could have just collapsed the hospital on Madeline. Like that would have been the easy thing to do, like before the X-Men got there.
Arclight could have done that.
Or Arclight could have done that. Yeah, several of these people could have just killed Madeline Pryor very easily.
Yeah, I mean, keep it like anybody could kill Madeline Pryor at this point. Basically, they just need to not delay.
Yeah. I've just been sending Madeline Pryor Trump truther videos, so now she doesn't wear a mask. So now she's just going to catch COVID probably and not get vaccinated. So
she's going to.
Mr. Sinister
indirect.
loves this idea, by the way. He's really into it.
I've been sending Madeline Pryor some bad YouTubes.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Going to get her real into the alt-right. That's how he's going to go down.
Right. If you want to tell us how you would kill Madeline Pryor, write in to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and tell us. Can't wait for Cole to see those comments.
Thanks everybody for listening. We're going to be back next time with the first appearance of Cable, doing New Mutants 87.
Yeah.
If you like the show, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and join us. We'd really appreciate it. Leave us ratings, reviews, talk to us on the Slack, all that stuff.
Do all that stuff. Tell your friends about the podcast. If you have X-Men friends, tell them about your other X-Men friends, by which I mean us. And then get all of your X-Men friends in a room together. Have a listening party of Days of Future Cast. Tell us how that goes. We're probably better than an episode of The Simpsons. About the same length.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned at the beginning of this thing, episodes, early releases going away, so there might be some changes to the format. We'll see. If you have strong feelings about having these bundled as 4 episodes at a time, and we just do that as one big episode every 2 weeks, let us know. If you want us to cover 2 comics a week and do our weekly thing, we could do that. If you want it to be individual episodes, you just let us know.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one or the other.
We will take your feedback and we will do away with it and do whatever we want to anyway, because that's the way that feedback works.
Yeah.
Not really. We genuinely want to know your opinion so we can make the best decision on this stuff. So please write in. And yeah, we'll see you in a couple of days with more Days of Future Cast.